Good morning everyone and welcome to Llamau's Impact Event 2022. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Frances Beecher and I'm very proud to be Llamau's Chief Exec. The reason we're all here today is to celebrate the amazing achievements and successes of the young people and women that we are so privileged to support over the last year. At Llamau, one of our priorities is to amplify the voices of the people we support, and we take that very, very seriously. We are really lucky to have some of the incredible young people and women we support here with us today. They will tell you their own stories in their own words. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedules to hear these stories, but to show the people Llamau supports just how important they truly are. However you're watching this, on whatever platform, it would be really wonderful to hear from you. So please comment or tweet along with us. We always love to hear your feedback. In 2022, we must get the message out there that we all find homelessness completely unacceptable. It shouldn't be happening, and it's in our power to stop it. Please make no mistake, allowing homelessness is a choice, and it is in all of our power to prevent. So please tag us into your posts on social media and use the hashtag for today's event, #EndHomelessnessNow, to show those in power just how many people will no longer tolerate a world where homelessness exists. So, before we kick off today's event, I'm going to hand you over to my amazing colleague, Sam Austin, Llamau's Deputy CEO here at Llamau.
Thank you so much, Fran, and thank you again to everyone who's watching today. I feel as if I'm repeating myself from what I said last year, but I don't think any of us could have predicted the continued challenges that we've all faced in 2022. The lack of certainty for the future and the incredibly tough climate we find ourselves in. The cost of living crisis is already affecting the people we are privileged to support, and sadly also our wonderful colleagues. But despite these challenges, Llamau, as always, has pulled together and delivered amazing services across Wales. We've brought on new services, grown existing provision, and continue to shout as loud as we can to amplify the voices, the messages of the people that we are so privileged to support all through last year. At the end of this event, our impact report for 2021-22 will be available to all attendees and on our website. In the report, we detail all of our services, focusing on the impact data for the year and demonstrating the incredible outcomes achieved by the people we are so lucky to work alongside, and we both urge you to give it a good read. Whilst it's been a continued tough year for Llamau, we have never lost sight of the fact that the challenges we have faced are nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to the challenges of the people that we are so privileged to support.
Hear, hear, Sam. And despite all those challenges, our services and our colleagues have continued to do such an amazing job right the way across the whole of last year. To show you all a flavour of some of the brilliant work that has happened, we have a video of some of our key activities over the last year.
Welcome to Llamau Sleep Out 2021.
Hello everyone, I just wanted to take this opportunity at Llamau's Impact event to give a big shout out to the End Youth Homelessness Cymru Coalition.
We're very settled now. A lot of that is due to Jo. She helped me make my house a home. It's my first Christmas as a mum in a happy environment, so it's definitely going to be magical.
I am Lawrence Brophy and I work for Team Llamau.
This month, the Welsh homeless charity Llamau, which will be launching their Breaking the Bias campaign. Their aim is to remove the stigma and create a society where women do not fear being judged by their experience. Domestic abuse does not discriminate, so those who survive it should not feel discriminated against. Every woman and girl affected, every survivor needs to know that there is support, that we will not tolerate this, and that we will all do everything that we can to tackle the violence that so many are facing.
Wow. We couldn't fit absolutely everything we've done into just those few minutes, but that hopefully gives you an insight in some of the fantastic work that has happened over the last year. And absolutely none of this would have been possible without the effort, the dedication and the determination of the best colleagues ever. Everyone is drained after years of unrelenting pressure, and yet our colleagues just keep on going, never giving up and never giving in. We cannot stress this enough, but because our colleagues truly are amazing. I am astounded every day, we are astounded about their dedication and their hard work. And let's be honest, thank you just doesn't cover it. We have worked hard on ways to continue to support all our colleagues, especially with their well-being around the cost of living crisis. We want to do everything we can to say thank you. Thank you for your hard work, and we don't want our colleagues to have to face even more pressure on top of the hard work they already do. We now have a very special thank you from a well-known friend of Llamau.
Hi everyone, when Sam told me about today's Llamau Impact event, I simply had to join. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Sally Hughes and I'm a journalist, writer, author, broadcaster and also the co-founder of Beauty Banks. We are a charity helping people living in hygiene poverty and we work a lot with Llamau in Cardiff. Ever since I joined you as a speaker at your 2018 Impact event, Llamau has been a constant source of inspiration and joy to me. I am so proud of the work we do together. The work that Beauty Banks does with Llamau is incredibly important to us. It's so humbling and so gratifying to know that the work has meant as much to you at Llamau as it has to us at Beauty Banks. So our work at Beauty Banks is really in sync with what you guys do at Llamau. Our aim is to make sure that hygiene essentials that lots of people are privileged enough to take for granted end up in the hands of people who desperately need them and can't afford them, so that everyone is afforded the dignity and what we believe is a basic human right in being able to keep clean, feel groomed and get on with your day without having to worry about cleanliness. Because of my work at Beauty Banks, I know how incredibly hard it's been to keep going and to keep thriving even in the pandemic and beyond, especially now in the current economic climate when so many people need our services and yours. I'm so impressed with the way Llamau has been able to keep going on and start even new initiatives, helping ever more people, including young women and their families. And then, of course, is Llamau's work within homelessness. This is an issue that is so close to my heart, as I discussed at the Impact event I was lucky enough to speak at. Llamau's approach to ending homelessness is bold and brave and creative, particularly in and around the work of early intervention, where we know we can really make a huge difference in avoiding young people having to live on the streets. Upstream Cymru offers young people a chance before homelessness is even on the agenda, and this critical time can really make a difference. It's been inspiring to see such bold and brave work from Llamau be adopted not just in Wales, but Europe and the Americas and the rest of the world too. It's an incredible achievement and one that will make a difference to so many young people globally. The strength of Llamau is not just its ideas and its initiatives, but its people. Every single person we deal with at Llamau cares passionately about their cause. This is not a box-ticking exercise. This is drive and passion from people who care about the people they look after and help. It's about preventing homelessness, looking after young women and their families, and really creating a proper future for each and every one of Llamau's clients. We are so proud at Beauty Banks to help you in that endeavour, and will continue to do anything we can, not least because we absolutely love working with each and every one of you. Congratulations, Llamau, and lots of love from us at Beauty Banks. Bye.
Thank you so much, Sally. One of Llamau's strategic aims is to prevent homelessness ever occurring in the first place. That important ambition is at the heart of everything we do. Our early intervention and prevention work is so important to us at Llamau. That's why, despite great difficulties, we pushed forward to deliver a pioneering collaboration called Upstream Cymru, the first of its kind in Europe. It's unique in that it allows young people at risk of homelessness to be identified at a very early stage, long before homelessness is an immediate risk or even being spoken about. To date, Upstream Cymru has surveyed over 1,800 pupils in schools. As many as 1 in 7 surveyed were identified as risk of future homelessness, including over 500 young people not known to children's services who would otherwise have slipped through the net. Without Upstream Cymru, these young people may well have become homeless in the future. We continue to support these young people identified to build their connections within school and family and to remain safely in their home. And here is a short video explaining more about Upstream Cymru, featuring our fabulous colleague Talog.
Upstream Cymru is a school-based initiative which looks at the lives of young people and can identify those that might need support and who are at risk of homelessness. Although focused on preventing homelessness is much more than that. It gives us a picture of where young people are at in their lives and is the starting point before any support is offered. It begins with a simple survey completed by students. The survey can identify those of risk of homelessness, in particular as a result of family relationship breakdowns, at which point experienced school-based Llamau staff offer support to the young person and their families. The approach has been successful in Australia and Canada and has seen a reduction in young homelessness in those places. The survey focuses on a range of areas, allowing for large amounts of information to be collected by the Upstream team and the school, all in line with data protection laws. Students' home life, well-being, resilience and engagement with education are all covered as part of the survey. These young people are effectively hidden from view because they don't present with the typical signs that something may be wrong, either at home, in school or within friendship and relationship groups. Upstream Cymru is an amazing initiative with the ability to make real change to the lives of young people at risk of homelessness in Wales. So, we can help them long before they reach crisis point.
Thank you, Talog. What a wonderful explanation all about the wonderful work that Upstream Cymru does. Doesn't it make complete sense that we reach young people long before homelessness is an issue? Before they experience that trauma and fear that homelessness causes. Upstream fits perfectly within the Nest framework, so please folks, let's add it in. A safe home is a basic and fundamental human right for everyone. It's, after all, the foundation for everything else you're able to achieve in life. And yet, we know just how many young people and women across the whole of Wales simply don't have access to a safe home. We also know from our research that exposure to traumatic experiences as a child significantly increases the chance of youth homelessness. In fact, 97% of young people who are homeless have experienced at least one adverse childhood experience, and nearly a quarter experience 5 or more. Llamau provides a variety of safe services across Wales. Last year we supported over 1,500 young people through those services, all ensuring access to safe, secure places to call home, whilst building the skills to support independence and to move on. I would now like to share with you the stories of some of the most amazing young people who have benefited from some of Llamau's support. Please take the time to listen to their stories.
I'm 17. I was born in Swansea. I think it was about, year 10. I was living with my mother, but we didn't get on that well. We were always arguing. I think it was just a bit different because the way I lived up North Wales with my father was completely different to when I'd moved back to my mother's. So it was just too hard for us all. And I think we went through a stage where we just started arguing all the time. We just clashed. We weren't getting on. I started running away and just not wanting to be in the house and that. And one day she told me to go back with my father. So, I did, I left. But I didn't actually go to my father's. I ended up staying with my mate for a month or something like that. I spent Christmas there. That was about 2 years ago now. And I think my father rang me. I hadn't spoken to him in about 2 years. He was living up North Wales. And he rang me, he was drunk. He's an alcoholic, so. But then the day after, he'd asked me if I wanted to move back with him. So I did. And then I think I lived up there for about a year. I moved up there in January last year. And I think it was around November time. It was all right up there. Me and my dad, we got on. Obviously, he was drinking all the time, but I think by the end of that as well, it just, stuff happened up there. We argued, he kicked me out, but he didn't exactly kick me out. It was more he locked the door and he just wouldn't let me in. I couldn't really ask him if I could come back home. It was at that point. One night, I was in my mum's and I turned to her and I told her everything that had gone on up there with my father, me, everything. And she got upset. She was like, well, you're not going back. I wanted to go back. I was like, well, I won't go back to his. I'll stay with my friend, like, you know, I'll sort something out there. Because at that time, I didn't know nothing about, like, I didn't know the options that I could have, like with Llamau and all that. It was around Christmas time last year that I was like, yeah, okay, I want a place. But then my mother kicked me out a few days before Christmas, like, because I was only staying there, it was like, you know, for the time being. Then she kicked me out, and then I was out on the streets for like a night. No matter what I went through, either way, I still had the staff downstairs. Like, they were always there, no matter how, like, what I was doing with my life. They didn't, like, they just wanted to help, like, or they just wanted to help. And it was like, no one's really wanted to help me, like, actually help me. All of them, they just speak to me like normal, like I'm literally like part of them, like one of them, you know, and it's like, just speak to me as if I'm human. And I think they just kind of made me realise like everything, like who I was, because for a long time I was just like, I don't know, I didn't see a future, I didn't see nothing, like I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. Honestly, I feel like a completely different person. Like, as much as like I sit there, I'm always in my own head, like I'm always like, but you know what, everything just feels so much clearer. Like I can actually sit there, and it's chaotic in my head, but I can sit there and actually like kind of like, I've got like hopes, I've got things that I want to do, and I do feel like, I feel a lot older. It's scary because like, you know, but that's what like it has to be like now, because you know I'm living on my own. Like I didn't think I would be, not at all. This time last year I was in a house, like I didn't think this. It's changed a lot for me. It's actually like, I feel a lot happier. Like I feel like I can actually like get somewhere. I feel like I've actually got a home, and to be honest, I feel like I've actually got like a family there as well. I don't feel like I'm on my own anymore.
I grew up in foster care and care homes. I remember my first night at Llamau. It was a wave of emotions. My room was small, but to me it was like someone had handed me a 3-bedroom house. After a few nights, I was getting the best sleep of my life. There was just peace all of a sudden. Nobody could decide to move me now, and I could just relax. Growing up in other people's houses, never feeling like anything was yours or comfortable enough even to use the bathroom at times. I'd never felt a feeling of peace like this before. There was a thing like I was worried about. Llamau means home. It's a stable person. It's support. It's someone that wants to and does help you. It's a safe place to find yourself. It's a time to improve yourself and your life. It's a place to learn so many things. It's a place or person that guides you and teaches you how to survive, to budget, to manage and be strong enough to conquer this big world. It's a place of opportunity, a place that gives you an opportunity. After a while I was offered a flat. I never thought I'd get to where I was. When I had the keys, it was a bit unreal. I couldn't believe I had my own place, and it was beautiful. Happier than I've ever been. Settled and living a normal life. I see my support worker once a week, and she still helps with everything. I definitely wouldn't be where I am without her. Anything I need, I can go to her, or even just for a chat. She's always there and reminds me of my strength on bad days. I'm so happy and looking forward to the future, a future I couldn't see before. Everyone says I did it myself, but Llamau gave me the tools and the mindset.
Wow, thank you so much to everyone for sharing your inspiring stories. And for obvious reasons, we're not sharing names. It's so wonderful to hear how people have moved on and are living independently now. Llamau's mission is to end homelessness for young people and women in Wales. One of the biggest causes of homelessness for women is domestic abuse, and the stats remain shocking. 1 in 3 women will experience domestic abuse at some point in their lives. Nearly 850,000 domestic abuse related crimes were recorded by the police across England and Wales last year, and that's only the reported figures. We know the problem is huge, and we are committed to support women to break the cycle of abuse and live safe, independent and fear-free lives. Llamau is one of Wales's largest and most experienced providers of domestic abuse and gender-specific services, and we're proud to say that we have supported over 4,000 women and families last year to break the cycle of domestic abuse, trauma and homelessness. Today we have a woman who is going to share her story with us, and I want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this really difficult story with us.
Between my husband and I, when we moved to Wales, things were really bad anyway. And I kind of thought, you know, us having the change of scenery might make things a bit better. And it was just really tense, really, really awkward. And then we moved because of financial issues. At that time, I'd started studying. I was still working part-time, but it would be that he would do the rent and I would do the rest of the bills, and he wouldn't live up to his responsibilities, and gambling started and stuff like that. So I said to him we moved to a smaller place, somewhere a bit cheaper, and I just found that he wouldn't take on the responsibilities, and then, you know, there was a lot going on in the relationship, I guess, you know. And every time I said I wanted to leave the relationship, he would have panic attacks, and he would say that I'm going to kill myself. So I kept, you know, hanging on. I stuck around for a while, and I just felt trapped. Honestly, I felt a bit like I need to move on, but I don't know how. And I was explaining to the lady that I wanted to leave, but I was afraid. I was afraid that he would hurt himself, and then it would be left on me, because I knew that his family would blame me for it. And I was afraid that he would do something and it would be on my shoulders. But I was also afraid that he might try and do something to me if I left. Because even though he hadn't been physical with me, there had been messages, there had been talk between him and his friends. And there had been a couple of times when I had been afraid, and you know, I just thought I have to protect myself. I started sleeping with things next to my bed just in case he came into my bedroom. And how I came in contact with Llamau, I started mentally to go downhill myself. When I spoke to the lady on the other end of the phone, I didn't know what Llamau was, I didn't know who they were, I'd never heard of them before, and I'd never been in contact with women's services. And she said to me, you know, this is what's happening. There's a lot of financial abuse going on, you know, there's a bit of, I was talking a bit about our daughter, and you know, there's the neglect part of that as well. But a lot of infidelity and the lies, so there was the emotional abuse and the blackmail, there was, you know, if you leave the relationship, which I wanted to do and I've been wanting to do for years. Yeah, she said to me, you know, you kind of got to get out of it. And I just didn't know how. I didn't know how, I didn't know. So I was very, very, very happy to be there. Anything I needed, you know, they were always on hand, so my support work was lovely. They were all lovely, to be honest. I'm grateful for every single one of them. But yeah, and from there into our own space within, I think, about 5 months, maybe 6 months. And I'm just so grateful, because more than anything, I was supported not only to leave the relationship, but I was able to stay in school, because I was worried that I'd have to leave. But I think the biggest thing for me is that Llamau helped me to stay in school. I was supported right throughout. You know, it's just like life continued. It's just that I was in a safe space and I was supported by some really lovely people.
Wow, thank you so much for being so brave and telling your story. The bravery and courage to talk about such a difficult and personal experience is truly incredible. It's down to each and every one of us to take those stories and learn from them. We all have a duty to call out any type of violence wherever we see it, where we suspect it. We have to be vigilant. Huge thanks again to an incredibly brave woman. Now I'd like to share more around how we support young people and women to move on from homelessness and take the next steps in life. As we all know, employment plays a central part in our lives. It provides purpose, stability, and it nurtures essential qualities and values like creativity and ambition. But employment also plays a huge part in preventing homelessness from happening. The young people at Llamau are ambitious, curious, hard-working, but they've been dealt a difficult and different hand. Some of the people we work with may have left school early due to bullying or family breakdown. Others may never have regularly attended school due to abuse or other traumas. This leaves them at such a big disadvantage when seeking employment and can be what leads them down a path of rejection and ultimately into homelessness. Many think education and employment is for others. At Llamau, we are very clear that education and employment is for all. Our Step Into programme is our education, employment and training programme. We work with young people who really are the furthest away from the labour market. 90% of the young people we work with have at least one adverse childhood experience, and over half 4 or more. We're also finding more and more of our learners are getting younger, and now 87% of them are around 16 to 18. Over the last year, we work with 207 young people, and of those, 84% progressed positively into education, employment and training. This is an amazing statistic, and once again a huge thanks to our colleagues working in this area.
So I got kicked out of college and I had nowhere to go. So throughout those couple of weeks I was wandering around the streets and basically doing bad stuff around the streets. I was like wandering around the streets, and then I went into the library in town and I bumped into Dave, who works in Llamau. So Dave and Sam helped by like talking to me, like when I'm upset I know who to go to, and Sam was like take me to places, new places for me to try, and yeah, they gave me good opportunities in a good way and just released all my stress behind. So we do like well-being, a bit of Welsh, God Cymru, and workshops like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, and abuse at home, and it just helps you, you know, learn about that type of stuff just in case it happens to you in the future. So we do a lot of like cooking, and then we go out places like MMA and stuff like that. So the impact on me is like, it gave me more courage to do new stuff, and it inspires me with different types of opportunities, and you basically sharing a new education, and they just help you a lot. I go to the Millennium Centre, and it's like this rap choir called Hardcore, and we'll be doing like rap music and be going on stage in a couple of weeks' time. We make our own songs, so we like write them down and we perform them on stage. I was actually quite excited because I knew that I got a new life now. I get to do what I want to do and work my way up. I felt like that I've actually got something to do now and I can get all my education back up.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and what an incredible achievement. At Llamau, we recognise that the young people and women we support have very powerful and important opinions and experiences to share, but they often lack the confidence to use their voice to communicate them. Our Step Into Involvement programme centres around helping the people we support to amplify their voices with a view to influencing areas such as policy change, their immediate environment and their own lives. The people we support are the real experts by experience, so ensuring they feel their voices and their opinions are heard is a really high priority in Llamau and is one of our strategic focuses.
Now, Llamau's choir has had many names: the Big Sing, Sing and Inspire, and typically, just like Llamau, we haven't let a pandemic stop us. We never give up and we never give in, and neither does the Llamau choir. Please enjoy a very special performance from our choir, which is just like the Llamau family, a mixture of all of us, and we've been practicing very hard.
We have.
So, over to the choir.
Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere, just to see a boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a small
Wow, thank you to our choir for that amazing performance. Perhaps not mine, but thank you for everybody else. I'm proud to say that Llamau's impact report is now live on our website. Woohoo! Yes, so please take some time to head over there after this event is over and take a look. Now we're coming to the end, towards the end of our impact event. On behalf of all of us at Llamau, thank you. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us today. And thank you to every single person who supported Llamau over the last year. We are so, so grateful. And now the time has come to hand over to Fran to close our Impact Event 2022. Thank you, Fran.
Thanks, Sam. To each according to his needs, from each according to his abilities. Simple words, Marxist maybe, but who cares? It's something that stayed with me for most of my life. Now, I've been around a long time, but I thought society continually develops and grows, becoming stronger, more inclusive, constantly challenging itself and improving. What an absolute mug was I. I didn't ever expect to watch basic morality, responsibility and empathy disappear down the drain. Make no mistake, that's what's happening in the UK. We are teaching our children and our future leaders that it's okay to lie. It's okay to be dishonest. And when you found out, you just shrug your shoulders and say, so what? This isn't about party politics. This is about basic right and wrong. It is wrong to live in a society that takes life-saving services away from people without the means to help themselves. It is wrong to live in a society that writes people off because they haven't had the good fortune to be born into families with the ability and the means to help them thrive. Why the hell are we allowing the UK to be taken back to the time where the rich and wealthy can do what they like, when they like, how they like? And we plebs doff our hats and moan, but do nothing else. Indifference is a sickness. Indifference is wrong. We all know the saying, all it takes for evil to happen is for good men and women to do nothing. We simply have to stand up and take action. I'm thinking here of the powerful words of Eli Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor who talked about the perils of indifference. Indifference elicits no response. Indifference is not a response. Indifference is not a beginning, it's an end. And therefore, indifference is always the friend of the enemy, for it benefits the aggressor, never his victim, whose pain is magnified when he or she feels forgotten. The political prisoner in his cell, the hungry children, the homeless refugees, not to respond to their plight, not to relieve their solitude by offering just a spark of hope, is to exile them from human memory. And in denying their humanity, we betray our own. Please be very clear, I detest those that are intent on driving the very values I hold dear into the ground. I detest what the UK has become. And I say to you all, we have much to fight for. Llamau's fight against homelessness continues. As we said at the beginning, allowing homelessness is a choice. I cannot for the life of me fathom why we allow young people, children under the law, to suffer the trauma and harm of homelessness. It's in our power to do something about this. I cannot fathom why policymakers stick entrenched to a system just because they've invested in it. And I cannot fathom why we do not rise up and say, enough. We will not accept the harm being done to the very people who have the least ability or resources to take care of themselves. My own mantra has always been, if you can, do. To be able to make a difference is a privilege, it's an honour, and it takes me back to that beginning, from each according to their ability. It really is that simple. Now, listening to me harp on are people far more able than I to make changes. People who have networks, who have influence, who have power. To you, I say, use it. And to those who say, what can I do? I say, join us. Join us in our fight against homelessness. As the UK faces yet another unprecedented crisis, there are people who need your help, your support, your empathy, and your ability to amplify their voices. The people Llamau support pay it forward. Investing in them is investing in all our futures, our children and our grandchildren's futures. Anyone can need help. Anyone can experience a crisis or become homeless. Be the person who puts their hand out to say, here's a helping hand. Please, I beg you, join us. Let's not just imagine a world without homelessness. Let's create a Wales without it.